Hello students, in today's class we are going to learn one more experiment, that is skill experiment. Here we need to work with a new software that is called Power BI. Okay, the task of the experiment here is we need to import a data set into the Power BI and clean the data using a query, Power Query, right? Like removing nulls, renaming the columns, or adding the columns, removing the columns, etc. Right? So, and the second part of this experiment says that you have to create a data model by establishing relationships between multiple data sets. Okay, there is a provision in the Power BI that we can make a relationship between two tables or the two data sets, right? So we're going to see this experiment today. Let us try to understand what is Power BI first of all. So I want to give a quick or a brief introduction about this Power BI now. So wh- what is the definition of the Power BI means? It is a tool. It is a business intelligence and data visualization tool developed by Microsoft, which is going to accept the data, from the different sources. Okay, so it is going to use the data. It is going to use the data and visualize the data to the users. Okay, in the form of reports. See the data sources of the Power BI, that may be Excel or a SQL server or a Azure database, so on. So it is going to take the data and going to generate the reports based upon the data. Okay, so let us see how this actually runs. Mainly the mainly the Power BI will contains following components. One is desktop Power BI, second one is online, and third one is mobile application. We are going to use the first one, that is desktop Power BI. Okay, let us see how to work with the Power BI desktop. For that, you have to go to the Microsoft Store. In that search for the Power BI desktop. Search for Power BI desktop. So you have to install this in your local system in order to use it. So here in this button, you may see for the first time, if you did not install in your system, you may see here as an option as install. As I have already installed this software, it is showing as open. Okay, now click on open. It is going to open the application, Power BI application. So here this is the home page, which contains multiple options where your data source you want to import from. So here there are different options are there. As I had told you that the Power BI going to accept the input from multiple data sources. That may be a Excel sheet or a data from the SQL database or a data from the Azure database. Okay, whatever it is. For example, first of all, I want to show you with how to import the Excel file into the Power BI application. Okay, for that, just click here Excel workbook. Select a data source with a blank report. So click on Excel. It is going to ask which file you want to import into the Power BI. So I'm going to select one data. Enhanced sales data set. Open. Click on open. Now see, this is a preview of the data. My data set contains a transaction ID, customer ID. What are the transactions that is made by the customer? Okay, whatever the product that he brought, the sales amount, okay, and the transaction ID and the date on which he purchased. Okay, everything is displayed here. This is a simple data set, okay, which contains 5 columns. So I want to import this data into the Power BI and I want to generate some reports in the Power BI. Okay. So just click on the load. Now it is going to establish a connection to the data set and import the data into the import the data into the Power BI application, right? So once the data get uploads, when the once the data get imports, you may see under the data pane the data which you have imported. Okay, see here there are 5 columns which you have already exist in the imported data set. Okay, so so now one more option. Once the data get imports, uh, this is saying that you can clean the data. You can clean the data or you can transform the data. Means whatever the data that we import into the Power BI, that we can modify it. Modify it means, for example, if I want to rename any column, if I add one more column into the data set, or if I want to remove the data column, okay, or if I want to change any data type, like that, some modifications can be done in the Power BI, which on the data set which I have imported. For that, so if you want to make these changes on the data set, so click on the transform data. Click on the transform data. Click on transform data. Now this will open see a new window with our data. New window with our data, right? So there are very simple changes. For example, if you want to remove the date, just right click here, click on the remove. Now the column will be deleted. Okay. So for example, if you want to change the name of the column, if you want to change the name of the column, just click on a rename. You may change it. For example, instead of category, I want to say I want to give as product. Okay, product category. Now it will get changed. For example, if you want to change the data type of the column, it's normally the sales amount. If you see here, the data type, it is in the decimal format. Decimal format. If I don't want to the decimal part in this sales amount, I can change this data type into a different data type. Okay. If I select the whole number, the decimal part will be gone. See now, the only the integers are displaying now. Like this, we can transform the data. Whatever the data set that we import, that we can make changes into it. Okay. Once the all the required changes will be done, now click on close and apply. Okay. Whatever the changes you have made, they will be applied to the data set. Okay. Now, if you see here, one more thing, that is visualizations. There are different types of visualization that you may see. Means whatever the data that we are having, this will be transformed into a graphical representation, with the different charts. These are different charts that are available. For example, for example, if I want to select the customer ID and sales amount. Okay. I want to see these two columns in a graphical way. Let me change it to bigger. Okay. So for example, if I want to change this, first if I select sales in the custom data, so now the data will be transformed into a graphical user interface. You can change the pattern, you can change the graphical representation according to your requirement, right? You can change it to pie also. So you can select any number of columns that are available here. You can remove any number of columns. Okay, the product and sales amount. This is the relation between the product and the sales. So if you place your mouse here, the details will be displayed here. The product category is clothing. Now it is going to occupy 18% in the sum of the total sales, right? If you go here, the furniture category going to occupy is has occupied nearly 29%, nearly 29% in the total sales amount. Okay, like that the data can be the data can be converted. The data be converted into a graphical representation. Graphical representation, right? So this is how we need to import a data, and we can transform the data, and we can visualize the data by using the Power BI. Okay, this is very helpful for an organization to understand, for any organization to understand about the trends in the market. Okay, so this is how the Power BI works.